Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Wednesday, April 19th, 2023. This is live stream 912. It's your first time joining me. Let me point out, super casual around here. We just hang out talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and a majority of the time we will dive on in for a first look at a game. And that is what we will be doing tonight, because we are going to be jumping on into the second part of our look at Achtung, Cthulhu 2D20 from Modiphius Entertainment. Yes, tonight we'll bring a first look at the Gamemaster's Guide. So I think we're going to actually get to delve into more of the mythos in this volume, because it's not player facing. So we're going to be jumping on in, taking a peek at this in just a while. Should mention, if you are watching live and you're not overly familiar with this show, we always tackle the tabletop gaming news first. So if you are tuning in live to check out the Game Master's Guide, kick back, relax, put your feet up. Probably be about 35 minutes or so before we get into that first look and page through. So just relax, have a little fun. Got a lot of cool tabletop gaming news to take a peek at tonight. Now, if you are watching this 30 minutes or more after the stream has ended, there will be timestamps. So those timestamps are located in the show notes. And if you're impatient, you just gotta get to that first look, you can do that. You can use those timestamps and jump ahead. Now, depending on the device you happen to be using to watch this, those timestamps might be right there in the timeline of the video, right there in front of your eyes. Don't know. But one thing I do know is when you are not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, this is a live stream. So if you are watching live, there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. Yet another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, a comment, maybe there's something about the Game Master's Guide you want to get a closer peek at, by all means, let me know, and I will do my best to respond. First out the gate tonight was Deja Vu, saying howdy, followed up by the Motor City Madman. That's right. Our good friend, the Madman in Detroit. No, not that Motor City Madman. The sane, well, more sane Madman from the Detroit area. That's who I'm talking about. Also happens to be one of our chat moderators as well. Tessie Trekkie is here, Chuck Terrell, Roger Perdome, as well as Kevin R. Smith and Coco B. Kathy Evans has popped on in, as has Vaughn Moore. So chat is off and running. Sweet. So happy hump day, everybody. Let's jump on into the news because I've got a nice mix tonight, as John Miscola is also hanging with the gang in chat. Making its way into stores for the third quarter of 2023 is The Last Kingdom board game. And here are the details from Gamelyn Games. The Last Kingdom board game is a game of war and politics for 2 to 5 players by renowned designer John D. Clare that's based on the Netflix series, you guessed it, The Last Kingdom. In this world, the kingdoms of Britain are at war. Many have already fallen to the invading Danes, leaving the great kingdom of Wessex standing alone and defiant under the command of King Alfred. You are one of the great commanders and politicians in this war-torn land, known today as England. Both Saxon and Dane armies openly battle for dominance, and it's up to you to title the scales of power. To claim these lands, you need to tread a dangerous path between both sides of the conflict. Will you betray your allies for power? What part will you play in the birth of a new nation? And will you ultimately rule it all? The Last Kingdom board game plays over the course of 2 rounds, during which players will perform actions to command armies to shape the course of the war. Your allegiance to the Saxons or the Danes can be firm or fickle, and your score will reflect not only your prowess in battle, but your political skill in maneuvering the competing forces of Britain. Each of the 10 leaders offer unique benefits to your strategy and provide special cards to start your hand. At the start of each round, players complete their hand by drafting cards from a deck specific to that round. Then the war begins in one of the 5 regions. Players take turns playing cards to command Saxon or Dane armies, gaining affinity with the different factions, or positioning their heroes and leaders to shift the tides of battle. Players also have access to a rotating market of actions that are available to everyone. Alternatively, players may choose to not act on their turn and instead pass to see what moves their opponents make. Once all players have passed consecutively, the war in the current region will be decided by the strengths of the Saxon and Dane armies battling there. Players gain victory points if they are aligned with the winning faction and based on their level of affinity. The focus of the war then moves to the next region and the battle continues. After the fate of each of the 5 regions has been decided, the round ends. After 2 rounds of play, the player who has accrued the most points wins. The Last Kingdom is for 2 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, plays around 30 minutes per player, and it is going to carry an MSRP of $69.99. I have got to say, I am very intrigued for a few different reasons, actually. For one, Gamelyn Games does not normally publish games that are not designed by Scott Almes. If you think about it, I think there's one game, I think there's one title that they have done that Scott Almes has not designed. I think. And, strangely enough, John D. Clare usually has his game designs released through AEG. So it's like, So I'm very, very curious. I gotta say, I have watched, I think it was about the first 3 episodes of The Last Kingdom. And I mean, it seemed fine. I think I was at a point where it was sort of like, I'd been watching, Vikings and Game of Thrones, and I was kind of need a break from this medieval era stuff. I might go back to it because I know it's. I think what did they have, like 5 seasons to it? Didn't it just wrap up? So kind of cool. Very, very interesting. So this is going to arrive in the summer. Russell Higgins is in chat. Welcome, Russell. Good to see you. Let's talk about some wargaming news. Even though it's not a Wargame Wednesday, we can have a Wargame News Wednesday, because currently up on the GMT Games P500 for pre-order is the Combat Commander Europe and Mediterranean Master Edition. I've got the scoop. Combat Commander Europe is Chad Jensen's award-winning card-driven board game immersing players in tactical infantry combat in the European theater of World War II. One player takes the role of Germany, while another commands either America or Russia. These 2 players will take turns playing one or more fate cards from their hands in order to activate units on the map board for various military functions. There is no strict sequence of play to follow in Combat Commander. Each measure of game time is divided into a variable number of player turns, each of which may consist of one or more orders conducted by the active player. Actions may generally be conducted by either player at any time. Events, both good and bad, will also occur at random intervals to add a bit of chaos and uncertainty to each player's perfect plan. Orders include fire, move, advance, recover, rout, and artillery functions. Each nationality also has a varying number of command confusion orders, which act as duds while in hand. Or, I guess, if we were talking like deck building, it's cards that are just basically taking up space. Players attempt to achieve victory by moving their combat units across the game map to attack their opponent's combat units and occupy as many objectives as possible. The degree to which a player succeeds or fails is measured by a scenario's specific objective chits, the destruction of enemy units, and the exiting of friendly units off the opponent's board edge. Command and control is extremely important in Combat Commander, being modeled via the command number on leader units. Command serves both to enhance the abilities of squads and teams stacked with the leader, as well as allowing for multiple activations with a single order. This Master Edition will include the forces of Germany, Russia, the United States, the British Commonwealth, France and the Allied minors, and Italy, along with the Axis minors. Replayability for Combat Commander is high, and with Chad's brilliant random scenario generator, it provides unlimited possibilities as far as additional scenarios, maps, units, weapons, and gaming situations are concerned. Add to that a ton of additional content. Over the past decade, GMT has released sequels and expansions covering the British, French, Italians, the Pacific Theater, the Resistance, even a what-if expansion on Operation Sea Lion. Because of all this content and unlimited scenario creation options, Combat Commander is even more than a wonderfully immersive gaming experience. It is also one of those rare, exceptional values in wargaming, one featuring so much content and diversity that can be revisited time and time again, with each game holding a new tale to tell. The Combat Commander Europe Mediterranean Master Edition is for 2 players, ages 14 and up. Each scenario will play in about 2 to 3 hours, and you can now pre-order it for the P500 price of $99. The expected MSRP will be $149. And if you are curious about Combat Commander, check out my review of Combat Commander Pacific. It is phenomenal. It is excellent. Now, I will point out, there are some grognards out there who are not fans of Combat Commander for a few different reasons. One of them is there are no dice. Your die rolls are on the cards. And I know for some people, they don't care for that. It's just the way the game is designed. That's it. That's all it is, the way it's designed. And really, really well done. And I got to say, Combat Commander is one of my favorite World War II games. It really, really is. Have not had an opportunity to really play Europe because it wasn't that long ago that a new edition for Combat Commander Europe came out, but that sold out. So now we're going to get this kind of big box, which is going to feature Europe and the Mediterranean all together. So sweet, 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 sweet. So save some money too. If you grab the P500, you'll save yourself 50 bones. Sly Blue Demon and Christopher Rush are joining us in chat. Good to see you both. Christopher says, I'm ready for some news, classic commercials, and 2D20 Cthulhu. Well, you've come to the right place. Let's talk about some role-playing game news, but first, allow me to wet my whistle. There is a smashing bundle of holding, which is currently available. It features a slew of tabletop role-playing games from Gallant Knight Games, all part of the Tiny D6 series. I've got the deets on the deal. Adventurer! This giant new Tiny Dungeon Mega Bundle presents many tabletop role-playing games from Gallant Knight Games that use the streamlined, minimalist Tiny D6 rules. These tiny games play fast, have characters you can describe on an index card, and cover a huge range of genres. Fantasy, space opera, superheroes, mecha, post-apocalypse, Wild West, pirate, zombie, and mythos horror, and fishing. Can't forget fishing. And you can mash them all together to play supers and imperious magicians fighting kaiju in an apocalyptic alien zombie haunted Weird West wasteland while on a fishing trip. Ideal for convention games, one-shots, and novice role players. The tiny boatload of PDFs in this jumbo bargain-priced offer, intended especially for players new to Tiny D6, gives you everything you need for every kind of itty-bitty adventure. Pay a tiny $19.95 to get all 14 games and play aids in the enormous Tiny Starter Collection with a retail value of $94 as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Tiny Dungeon 2nd Edition core rulebook, plus its bestiary deck, treasure deck, and GM screen. Tiny Wastelands, plus its Enclave deck and GM screen. Tiny Frontiers Revised, Tiny Pirates, plus its dual deck. Tiny Gunslingers, plus the poker deck and bounties, as well as Tiny Living Dead. And if you pay more than the current threshold price of $38.58, you'll level up and also get the colossal Tiny Bonus Collection with 11 more games and supplements worth an additional $117, including Advanced Tiny Dungeon, Tiny Taverns and its expansion, Tiny Taverns a la carte, and of course the extremely necessary fishing minigame. The newly updated Mecha and Monsters, Evolved, plus a novella set in that universe, Welcome to Paradise, Tiny Cthulhu, Tiny Supers and its recent Gallant First Campaign Guide, plus the Tiny Supers GM screen, and Tiny Spies. These savings run through May 8th and 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to Direct Relief. So I must say, just the price of one of these core books in the Tiny D6 series, say Tiny Dungeons, right, would run you almost the same price as the starter collection, which is going to provide you with tons of gaming material. Pretty sweet. So $19.95 gets you 14 games and play aids with some of the more popular Tiny D6 like Tiny Dungeon, Tiny Wastelands, Tiny Pirates. And gotta say, the Tiny D6 system is pretty cool. It's not crunchy by any stretch of the imagination, but it is not like super, super light, where it's sort of like, hey, we're just flipping a coin, right? Oh, that's how rules light it is. We just resolve all action by flipping a coin. Coco B said, ooh, I was thinking about picking up Tiny Dungeons. And then there's also Tiny Advanced Dungeons, which kind of gives the, like, an AD&D flavor, I believe. I have not actually seen it. I have not looked through it. But I am pretty sure that it gives kind of a Tiny D6 AD&D flavor to the proceedings. So Coco B says, good thing I procrastinate and forget. Yeah, because you'll save more money. Talking about saving money, Goodman Games is offering the 5th edition fantasy number 26 Ambush at Dragon's Cove adventure absolutely free. Let me tell you about it. This is a level 1 adventure. 5th edition fantasy is here. The adventure is fully compatible with, you guessed it, the 5th edition of the world's first role-playing game and is ready to play in your home campaign. When a local druidess, would they just still be a druid? I don't know. When a local druidess is called away to tend to a raging forest fire, the heroes are hired to guard a turtle nest among the windswept dunes of a nearby beach. When several dragon turtle wormlings emerge from their shells, the heroes need to hatch a plan to escort the precocious dragonlings to the safety of the ocean. So I guess they weren't really turtles, right? They were dragon turtles. Ambush at Dragon's Cove is an all-new 5th edition wilderness crawl adventure suitable for a group of 4 to 6 first-level characters. Set on a coast nearby a bustling port, the short adventure can be finished in one session and is easily dropped into an existing campaign setting. This adventure is suitable to introduce new players to the game and for neophyte game masters to learn the craft of presenting a series of challenges to eager players. The cost for this adventure is free, but normal shipping charges do apply if you want to get your hands on the physical adventure. This adventure is offered for free in honor of Dungeon Day, which was last month, in memory of Gary Gygax. The 14-page softcover, once again, is free, plus shipping. Or you can grab the PDF as a pay-what-you-want, essentially free, at DriveThruRPG. And as you can see, I got my hands on it because that's how I'm sharing these images. It's pulled from the PDF. So there you have it. Jesus Nava is joining us. Good to see Jesus once again. It's been a while. Thanks for swinging on in. My final news piece, now available from Evil Hat Productions, is Apocalypse Keys. And here's the latest. Even those powerful monsters have hearts. Unleash your destruction and reveal your deepest emotions. unmask your feelings, uncage your ruination. The doomsday clock is ticking down, and emotions run high as you and your team of division agents struggle to find the keys before the villainous harbingers unlock the doors of power and bring about the apocalypse. As an Omen-class monster, you are the only thing capable of holding back the apocalypse. Combat occult threats and investigate supernatural phenomena alongside your team of supernatural agents working for the shadowy division. But in a world that shuns monsters like you, only your deepest, most heartfelt bonds can grant you the power to stop those who seek to unlock Doom's door. Inside this book, you'll find a game of monsters bound by fate, love, and power. Explore emotional connections, complicated relationships, unpredictable mysteries, larger-than-life apocalyptical threats, and the brightest hope in the darkest despair. There's an innovative take on the Powered by the Apocalypse rules engine. 7 playbooks, each with their own destructive abilities and consuming desires. There's guidance and support for running the game, including advice for the keeper on how to craft your own apocalypse. There's preset mysteries for the team to investigate, and plenty of guidance on creating your own. Strategies and safety tools to ensure everyone at the table enjoys a fun, memorable session. There's plenty of support and advice for creating one-shot sessions or full campaigns. The apocalypse draws near. There are keys to find, mysteries to solve, doors to unlock, and ruthless harbingers to battle. It's time to face your fears or become fear itself. The 384-page softcover with PDF is available for $40.24 as a print on demand. Now, I do believe there is a hardcover edition that might be making its way into stores. I don't know for sure. I think there is. I think the MSRP is probably right around $59.99. But you can also grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $25. Sly Blue Demon says, Powered by the Apocalypse is great. Christopher Rush points out, as far as the 5th edition fantasy adventure, you can never go wrong with giant crabs. Unless you have a case of them, then I would think things would be pretty bad. But other than that, I think we'd be all right. Tessie Trekkie said, this game is cool. They got the print-on-demand version. It is a very PBTA ripoff of Hellboy. Here's what I'm curious about, because it really sounds like Monster Hearts. In fact, there's some, just the way things are presented in that cell sheet information, it's kind of, I don't know if it's drawn off Monster Hearts a little bit, because I know Monster Hearts isn't 384 pages, right? I know there's a second edition of it, and I think this is a different designer. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious, but it does feel like it's got that Monster Hearts kind of feel to it, where Monster Hearts, I gotta be honest, it's not as if I've run through it or, picked it up or read it or anything like that, but I do believe that it is more along the lines of like teenage monsters in high school kind of drama sort of thing. So Christopher Rush says it's Powered by the Apocalypse, which is Evil Hat's RPG system. Actually, Powered by the Apocalypse is not owned by Evil Hat. It is Let's see. Do you see? And the thing is, I'm not even positive if it's now I'm drawing a complete blank. Something bird. So I know Evil Hat has released some Powered by the Apocalypse stuff as of late. So that's kind of the system that they are building games off of. So Sly Blue Demon says, don't they have Forged in the Dark or something like that? Forged in the Dark is kind of inspired by Powered by the Apocalypse, but it's not. So Christopher Rush says, oh, it's not? Could have fooled me. They love it so much. Thank you. Kevin says, Evil Hat has Fate. Yeah, right. That was the big system that they designed a lot for. Like Atomic Robo, for an example, which I really liked because I liked the comic. Christopher says, I really wish Evil Hat would sort of deviate from BPTA in all honesty. Yeah, damn. You know what I'll try to do when we've got, Madman says, is it Lumply Games? That is a possibility because whoever owns Apocalypse Engine is who actually owns Powered by the Apocalypse. Because that's, when they say Powered by the Apocalypse, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about Apocalypse Engine, which led to, oh, I'm sorry, isn't it Apocalypse World? Isn't that what it's known as? Because I know we got Dungeon World, which I have looked through that. You know, Powered by the Apocalypse, I find pretty interesting. I'm familiar with the system. Not super familiar. I haven't run stuff, but I have read a few RPGs like Dungeon World. I think back in the day, I read part of the Apocalypse. Yes, Apocalypse World. Thank you, Madman. I don't think I read the whole thing. But I sort of have the feeling that Powered by the Apocalypse is far better suited to short campaigns, like multi-session adventures, but kind of one-offs. I'm not necessarily saying like, you know, like a one-session, one-shot kind of thing, but something that's rather short. Sly Blue Demon says that they're in a City of Mist game and running one. They love it. City of Mist is also not precisely PBTA. It is built off of it, but it's got a lot of changes to it. City of Mist is very cool. Very cool if you like a very unique sort of superhero setting that's quite different. It's not your usual four-color world, right? It's not DC, it's not Marvel. It's very unique. So I'm sure Sly Blue Demon is having a fantastic time with that game. I reviewed it. I reviewed the slipcase set. I'm trying to remember who makes that, who sent that along to me to review. So anyway, there you go. There is the news for tonight. Now, of course, I was talking about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit DriveThruRPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. All those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please. But if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always swing on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation, as did recently the madman Roger Prudhomme and Marcus Georges. And as I've pointed out all week long, they were not small donations either. So much appreciated to those three gentlemen. And of course, everyone else who uses those banner ads and or paypal.me. It is truly, truly appreciated. All right, let me grab another sip here. It is weirdly dry down here in the Duct Tape Studios this evening. Little chilly. We had some rain and crazy hail. I had not seen that much hail in decades. There was so much hail coming down, and it was about this big. And the patio, the deck, I guess I'll say, was just covered. You'd have thought it had been like an ice storm. That's how much hail came down in about a 5-minute period. And Mango and Lala were like, what the hell's going on? Because we're like banging off the roof and everything else. And they're like freaking out. Roger says, Jeff needs a Wilkins coffee or a beer. Well, they don't make Wilkins coffee anymore. I've told you before, I've tried to track down those little puppets because they used to sell them. I have seen the cans where I think it was the lid of the can. You sent the lid in, and for $1, you got these little vinyl figures of Wilkins and Wontkins. So I was looking to see if, like eBay, I figured they'd be pricey. I didn't even find them. I found people who were kind of trying to sell knockoffs, but. So one thing I do want to mention before we dive on into the Game Master's Guide for Achtung, Cthulhu 2D20. Yesterday I mentioned the contest and then didn't mention it again. I don't know. I kind of got into the discussion about the PR rep who was crying about having crazies sicked on him by the Dice Tower reviewers. Somebody commented that it wasn't even a game. It was just a big box for storing something from Colossal Games. And I guess people have been complaining about how poorly designed it is. I guess it's broken. So, Sly Blue Demon says, yeah, City of Mist is not fully PBTA. The power tag system really gives it more replayability and longevity than having playbooks. Yeah, I could see that very, very easily. So, and there is a lot of content for City of Mist as well. I think, if I remember correctly, at one point they were affiliated with Modiphius Entertainment. I think Modiphius Entertainment was publishing it because they do that. Cubicle 7 used to be the company that published a lot of third-party stuff, and then they got away from that. They only do their own. And Modiphius kind of picked up on that. Now, I don't know if it's still the case. And just remembered the company that has like tons of Powered by the Apocalypse stuff, and it's Magpie. So, yes. Anyway, talk about the contest. So what we're going to do is, I already told you how you can get in the running to win that PDF of Dying Earth for Dungeon Crawl Classics, right? I do the same thing all the time. I try to make it super easy for people to get in the running to win while still having people do something that's going to help promote that video, right? Because remember, comments show engagement, thumbs up show engagement, helps get the videos in front of people's eyes, right? So what I'm going to do is the contest will be on this video because in my opinion, I think it's silly to just give away the player's handbook, the player's guide, I should say, without giving away the Game Master's Guide as well. So I will repeat the rules to this contest after we take a peek at the Game Master's Guide. But what I would like you to do is, same kind of thing as usual, be a subscriber to the channel. Please thumb up the video, even though I can't tell if you did or not. But I can tell if you're a subscriber. And comment what World War II battle you think would be a good fit for a Mythos adventure. There you go. Christopher Rush is like, ooh, ooh, oop, ooh, ooh, ooh. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, Christopher. Are you having a stroke? Let me type this out real quick. I shouldn't joke about that. Having gone through a triple bypass, I probably shouldn't joke about that kind of stuff. That was the first thing that popped in my head. I'm like, what is that supposed to be? Is that for the contest? Alrighty. So we're going to dive on into that Game Master's Guide in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
Hey, Mom. Yes, you. Why fuss and fret about dinner? Why not have it right here? Yes, this drive-in offers everyone in the family a real picnic treat for dinner. We've got delicious sandwiches with all the trimmings and your other dinner favorites, plus whatever you want to drink, hot or cold. Come early before the show starts, or eat while you're being entertained, or at intermission time. So why fuss? Give your family a tasty dinner at this drive-in.
This is the magic land of sky blue waters, a land where glaciers work, leaving waters of almost unbelievable purity. Fresh, restless, exciting waters, playful waters, bubbling with good spirits, tossing themselves under blue skies in the crisp, clean northern air. From this land of sky blue waters comes the water best for brewing. From this land, bringing with it the sparkling, splashing bounty of the North Country, comes Ham's beer, brisk and clean cut, a beer that never stops refreshing you. Glass after glass, round after round. Give yourself the pleasure of Ham's frosty refreshment from the land of sky blue waters.
You can't persuade me to drink Wilkins instant coffee.
Pretty please?
Ouch, okay.
Just a stab in the dark.
All right, I don't get it. How does Casper the Friendly Ghost enter that equation? I don't understand. It's like, oh, here's a little boy doll. Okay, talking doll. All right, and here's a little girl talking doll. Talking dog. Got a talking dog in there too. And then Casper. It's like, okay. And of course, it was obvious those are not the voices that are in the that are used for the dolls. So Kevin asked, wasn't Fresca just a 7-Off ripoff? 7-Up. Did I say 7-Off? 7-Up. the weird thing is that Fresca is still around, and Roger just pointed out, yes, they still have it up there in Canada, and it is similar to 7-Up. I thought Fresca ended up becoming like Tab. It was sugar-free. I don't know. I have seen Fresca, probably not recently, but I remember seeing Fresca in dollar stores. So, because I like to hang out at dollar stores, you know. Yeah, when I have to go buy cards for some holiday. So, yes, there is that. John Miscola points out Fresca is an Italian word meaning cold. Yeah, it was kind of funny. That little cartoon guy was losing his mind. It's like, no, that's not what I want. I want the Fresca, for crying out loud. So Roger says, yes, it is sugar-free and is produced by Coca-Cola. There you have it. Kevin points out nothing tastes as bad as Tab, particularly in the 70s. I remember in the 80s, and it was god-awful soda. It was just the worst. If I remember having Tab in a can, and I could taste the can. It's like, what? Yeah. But it was the diet drink. That was back before we actually had diet soda. You had Coke. There was no Diet Coke. So Russell says, didn't they just stop doing Tab? Yeah, Tab's gone. All right, moving right along. So tonight, I am going to dive on in and take a first look at the Achtung Cthulhu 2D20 Gamemaster's Guide from Modiphius Entertainment. It's written by Nathan Dowdle, John Houlihan, Richard August, Brad Bell, Richard L. Gale, Ben Graybeaton, Bill Heron, Mari Takuda, and Sam Webb. This 268-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $59. You can grab the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. Coco B says, Wikipedia says Fresca has a grapefruit-based taste. I believe so. Speaking of grapefruit, I happen to be a big fan of Squirt. I think Squirt is a really tasty soda. Just me. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I have got the hardcover of Gamemaster's Guide. So first thing, let's take that shrink wrap off. I will mention, taking a look at the Player's Guide and now tonight the Gamemaster's Guide, I was struck by how well put together that Player's Guide was. The binding and everything looked like it could really, really hold up to a lot of repeated use at your game table. So before we jump on in, I do want to point out the fine folks over at Modiphius Entertainment sent along this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else involved with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's important that you know that. So we're not going to look at each and every page, but I do want to get a very good feel for what's in the Gamemaster's Guide. So we're going to dive on in. Let's take a look at the back. I like the artwork on the cover. I'm not going to read everything off the back, just the main section up here. Direct the course of the new Secret War. Welcome to the Secret War in this fast-paced, pulp-influenced roller coaster of an RPG, which nimbly mixes the sanity-challenging terror of Lovecraftian cosmic horror with the chaos and heroism of World War II. I remember that from the Player's Guide. As a game master, you will bring to life this pulp-influenced world of brave allied heroes and dauntless, two-fisted adventure, guiding the heroic actions of players while also directing the twisted might of the Nazi occult, the cult of the Black Sun, who wield foul magic and summon captive horrors, and Nachtwolf, their rivals, who place their trust in Atlantean technology, weird science, and strange wonder weapons. You will shape a world where dread secrets and powerful artifacts lie forgotten in ancient ruins, where dusty tomes are replete with eldritch knowledge, and you'll arm players with experimental technology, deadly weapons, and powerful magic to do battle with this uncanny threat. Oh, I'm kind of curious. How many of those things will blow up in the players' faces? Will your players prevail against all odds, or will they, like so many others before, fall to the malign influence of the mythos? That is your story to shape and tell. All right, let's jump on in. That's pretty nice. So we have our Game Master's Guide. We had our Player's Guide artwork like this. So we're going to have an introduction. We've got a chapter on the Secret War. Looks like a breakdown of the different organizations. Secret weapons of the Secret War. Magic and the mythos. The Game Master. So we've got a section on running the game as far as probably tips and tricks. We've got heroes and villains of the Secret War, as well as a bestiary. Little surprised that we have not seen an introductory adventure as part of the two core books. Obviously, I wouldn't think it would be in the player's guide, but I would have thought maybe we would have seen one in this. But keep in mind, I mentioned this last night, that Modiphius Entertainment tends to release a good number of free adventures. So there's a big deal right now with is Sands and Serpents or Serpents and Sand. It is the newest campaign. I think it was, it might have just been released. So I know Modiphius Entertainment sent me a PDF of it last night. But the weird thing is I did a news piece about it like 1 or 2 weeks ago. So here we've got our introduction. Looks like it is some fiction. Then we got the Secret War. Oh, that's nice. Yes. That's pretty wild. That is almost kind of a vibe from At the Mountains of Madness. Although that is, are those supposed to be like Atlanteans or something right here? I'm kind of curious. It's pretty wild. Achtung, Cthulhu's Secret War is an ongoing battle raging between 6 major factions drawn from the Allies, the Axis, and the Mythos. Although many other conventional and otherworldly forces are caught up in this hidden conflict, either by accident or design. Founded by Exarch Reinhard Weisler, the cult of the Black Sun are the sorcerers supreme of the Nazi Reich. Oh, really? They're Doctor Strange? Whose primary goal is to bathe Earth in the trophying, I guess we'll say, rays of the solar black sun, which contains the imprisoned god Yog-Sothoth. Their arch rivals are Nachtwolf, the Night Wolves, a breakaway group led by Mina Wolf, who believe in the primacy of science and technology, and who use distinctive Atlantean Blauer Kristall to enhance, what is it, like champagne? Yeah. We use Crystal to power everything. William Hellhesice is with us. Good to see you, William. So they use the Blauer Kristall to enhance their troops and construct Wunderwaffen, wonder weapons, to win the war. Opposing them are the dauntless heroes of Section M, Britain's own occult force, led by Sir Alec Towton. It is comprised of a mix of brave field agents, eccentric boffins, powerful mystics who combine typical British ingenuity, improvisation, and invention to endure the worst the Nazis can throw at them, as long as there's a decent cup of tea always on hand. Even before America's formal entry into the war, the United States Majestic, the office of Mumbo Jumbo, was there to lend its British allies a welcome hand. Led by the redoubtable Sally Armitage, Majestic combines native courage, raw American muscle, and psychic operatives to take the fight to the Nazi menace. And then we have the powers of the mythos as well. So, looks like we're going to get a breakdown of each of these organizations. Oh, look. It's, oh, God, now I can't even, I'm zoning out. It's like the TV show, the movie with Kurt Russell. So we get a break. Oh, it looks like we got quite a few pages devoted to Section M. And it looks like we get a bit of a timeline as well. See, I had mentioned that. Thank you. Nero's Fiddle is with us. Stargate. Yeah, I was like, what the hell? Why am I zoning on that? It's something gate. So then I'm like, Atlantis Gate? No, that is not it. I guess it's obvious I didn't watch the show. Anyway, as I mentioned last night, I'd be kind of curious as far as running Achtung Cthulhu 2D20, as far as the actual history. I would probably, as a game master, I would probably take a certain point during the war and completely go off script. That is probably what I would look to do. Kind of curious if anybody out there in chat may have read the Harry Turtledove novels. I don't recall the title of the series off the top of my head, but it was alternate history, and it was World War II, and aliens just happened to invade during the Second World War. It was pretty interesting. Harry Turtledove usually has maybe 2-3 novels in him for a particular setting or storyline. And then he kind of, loses steam. I used to read a good amount of Harry Turtledove's alternative history stuff. So here's Nackwolf. So the special relationship between the Nackwolf and the Migo. Yes, the Migo. The Migo are actually my favorites of the mythos creatures. They're just cool. Plus, The Whisperer in Darkness is an excellent story as well. Nero's Fiddle says the 2D20 mechanics is very pulpy, works very well for action-heavy games. They've run Conan many times, and it flows easily. I have to say, a lot of people are scared off by 2D20 because they think it's real complex. There we go, Deep One bases. So I guess we're kind of getting into more discussion of the mythos here. Ah, there we go. There's the Migo again. The Migo are an extraterrestrial race of symbiotic entities who originate on Yuggoth, a strange dark orb on the very edge of the solar system. A fusion of sentient fungus and insectoid crustacean, they are a race of technologically advanced interstellar explorers, colonizers, and conquerors who have spread throughout the solar system and beyond in their search for new worlds to exploit. Migo are an independent race and are not directly aligned with any of the mythos deities, although they have dealings with Nyarlathotep and Shub-Niggurath in the past. In the modern age, they appear to favor Yog-Sothoth, possibly because he is able to open the ways to other worlds and dimensions that they wish to travel to. Migo also covet and harvest Blar Crystal, the blue crystal, the disembodied consciousness of the deity Sarthothus, which they utilize both as a power source and in many of their unholy biological experiments. Yeah, one of the things I really like about the Migo is they're not really easily understood. They're not necessarily evil. So that's one of the things I've always thought was cool about the mythos is that you can't apply human reasoning to the entities. Kevin says they think it takes a little bit to figure out 2D20's mechanic, especially since the name implies that you're always rolling 2D20s, but it's actually a dice pool system where you can roll up to 5. Nero's Fiddle follows that up by saying the rules themselves aren't particularly complex, but the way the rules are laid out in the various 2D20 books leaves something to be desired. Interesting. It's been a long, long time since I reviewed the core book for Conan. I've also done the review for the core book for Star Trek Adventures and John Carter, Warlord of Mars. And I do find it interesting. And the starter set for Fallout. I do find it interesting how Modiphius does tweak the system for just about every setting that they do with it. It's not just, oh, well, it's the same exact system once again. All right, so looks like we've got some various different gear. So now we're in the secret weapons of the Secret War. And some specific items, it looks like the various factions will utilize or organizations will utilize. Ebon seeds. These black crystalline seeds feel odd. Their surface slimy to the touch. Adapted from the vicious, barbed creepers that choke the marshy floor of the Valley of the Black Sun. Ebon ivy is a form of razor-sharp vine possessing a basic animal intelligence and is deployed by Black Sun in place of traditional barbed wire. Oh, that's nice. Ebon ivy is grown by casting seeds onto the ground, which quickly burrow down to take root, even cracking through concrete to find fertile soil. Yes. All right. Taking a look at this book tonight, I'm very happy to start seeing all the mythos stuff and all the the pulpy stuff. Whereas in the player's guide, we were looking at a lot of character creation and how do you play the game. Whereas here we're now getting into, like the Migo and the Black Sun and Deep Ones, the goodies, right? The things that are bringing players to the table. So we've got the various different weapons. So now in the player's guide, we did have a section with just standard historical weapons. Here, these are all of the various different kind of odd, strange weird science sort of weapons. Now we get into the magic. This chapter deals with the magical and mystical elements of Achtung Cthulhu, delving into the occult traditions and potent spells used by both sides. Magic in Achtung Cthulhu remains a rare and unusual practice and is the preserve of sorcerers, scholars, and seekers of forbidden knowledge. It also includes especially gifted individuals who, due to their heritage, will, or native talent, are able to shape and harness arcane forces which are sometimes far beyond their comprehension or indeed control. You can find full details on the mechanics of magic and spellcasting in Chapter 9 of the Achtung Cthulhu Player's Guide. When I run Call of Cthulhu, I make magic very rare. Usually, my player characters in Call of Cthulhu, even characters who have been around for quite some time, don't have a lot of spells at their disposal. So Nero's Fiddle says, I'll say this for Modiphius, they produce absolutely gorgeous looking books. The art is second to none in the biz. I think the three heavy hitters as far as artwork, I guess I would throw Paizo a bone as well, because I do like Paizo's art style when it's less cartoonish, which most of the Pathfinder 2nd edition is. But I usually find that Cubicle 7 Entertainment, Free League Publishing, and Modiphius always have really fantastic art, except for Rivers of London, which we looked at. It was like, what the hell is this? Stay tuned for my review, by the way. So here we've got different spells. Yes, Rituals of Nyarlathotep. So here we have rituals. So we're getting our little stat blocks for various different spells. Healing, inflict or cure insanity, inflict or cure disease, inflict or cure curse. Wouldn't it be remove curse? I don't think, do you really cure a curse? Steal immortality. Transmogrify. This ritual allows the spellcaster to assume the aspect of any living person, animal, or even creature, and the change is permanent until the spell is cast again. And we've got our Mythos tomes. Just looking to see if we've got some crossover from Call of Cthulhu. Of course, the Necronomicon, you've got to have that. Narcotic manuscripts, yes. The Rye tablets. All right, then we get into the Gamemaster section. Looks like we might have about 40 pages of that. So we get our Game Mastering 101. Given the importance of the Game Master's role, it is vital you prepare for the game accordingly. While some GMs are comfortable just turning up for a session and improvising, it takes practice and experience to run a game without any preparation. It's important that you are comfortable with these important elements of the role. Know the rules. Or, at least as I recently shared a video, have a grasp of the core rules. Know the plot. Be prepared. Presenting problems. Let the players be awesome. Decide how NPCs respond and interact. Yes. Skill tests. Whenever you're doubtful of the outcome of a character's action, when there is a chance of failure, or where the degree of success is important, ask for a skill test. A single skill test represents attempting an activity despite some resistance or conflict. Skill tests are completed in a relatively short amount of time, searching for clues, repairing a car, or negotiating with a suspect. So challenges and extended tests. Truths on the fly. Using truths. Truths form a framework to help you describe a scene, highlighting the key things that affect the character's actions in some way. Truths are a versatile tool and a useful way to establish situations and environments that characters can be confronted with. In the simplest terms, a truth is a description of something that influences game mechanics. Truths always describe things that are factual about a situation, location, or character, and in turn, if the thing that a truth describes stops being true, the truth changes as well. Truths aren't inherently advantageous or problematic, but they have the potential to be either or both of those things. They help you define what is or isn't possible in a scene and determine how difficult some things are to accomplish. So we have positive truths, we have negative truths, adjudicating truths, personal truths. Then we have threats. Threat, discussed briefly at the end of Chapter 3, Playing the Game in the Player's Guide, is a key mechanic for the GM that you can use to raise the stakes in a scene or increase the drama of a whole adventure. It allows you to bolster the actions of non-player characters and to alter and manipulate elements in a scene without direct action from NPCs, providing twists, turns, and challenges for the player characters to overcome. You begin every adventure with 2 threats for each player in the game session and gain more during play. I gotta be honest, in my years of being a game master, I've never really used this a sort of system where the game master has points that they can spend to, like increase the tension and things like that. I just increase the tension. Some of that stuff always strikes me as being kind of gimmicky. Oh, well, the players get to use these bennies, but, the game master gets these bennies too. I don't mind the players having some sort of item that they can spend to reroll dice or turn a failure into a success or what have you, right? Cheat death. I'm fine with that because there's a reason why the player characters exist. Even though I'm not necessarily into the whole, oh, wow, a starting character is super heroic. But there is a reason that, they're set apart from NPCs, right? The regular Janes and Joes out there. But as far as various different tokens or currency that a game master gets to spend to change the situation, I've never bought into that. It's just change the situation. Kevin says they like the rule where the threat level goes up when certain named villains show up. I call it the Imperial March rule, like in Star Wars when Darth Vader appears and you hear that music. Yes. Heroes and villains of the Secret War. I guess we're going to get some NPCs. Yep. We get some important NPCs. Yeah, it looks like we're going to see from the various different organizations. So we had Section M. We're going to have, there we go, Majestic. He's on the cover. He's in the cover artwork. Professor Richard Deadman. Hey, it's Professor Pickett. I should say Pikmin, like Pikmin's model. All right, we got the Axis Forces. Nice. Getting some more artwork here. Although I do notice there have been a few pieces of art that I have seen more than once. It's not real noticeable, but I did happen to see that as I paged through here. Very cool. The Nachtwolf Stormtrooper. Looks pretty badass there. Looks like this is the Nachtwolf. We've got our bestiary, so we've got animals. Creations of abhorrent science. Great race of Yith. Ghouls, overlords of Nyarlathotep. They look kind of bizarre. With like, almost like a trunk. The servitors of the outer gods. Nice. Deep ones. Deep one hybrids. There we go. Here's our Migo. Look kind of different. I would expect them to look a little bit different than what we normally see. They don't look as insectoid enough, in my opinion, though. I don't know. It's just me. Oh, no, we got our the great old ones. Do we have Cthulhu? Yep, right there. How many hit points does he have? That was one of the things I always joked about. Call Cthulhu. It's like, yeah, so, okay, so Cthulhu's got 300 hit points. Yeah, okay. Nice. And of course, we're seeing quite a bit more art here as well. And then we're going to get into our appendices, and it's just simply an index. All right. Very cool. Very cool. So that is the Game Master's Guide for Achtung Cthulhu 2D20. I will point out, we do have reviews on thegaminggang.com for the Player's Guide as well as the Game Master's Guide. I did not do those reviews, though. So there's that. So I am actually going to review these myself, which is not unusual. From time to time, I've had companies send physical releases, just like we had Modiphius Entertainment do. So, sweet. So I will have reviews of Game Master's Guide, the Player's Guide, as well as Assault on the Führer Train in the near future. So once again, I'm going to talk about the contest. So to win a copy of the Player's Guide and Game Master's Guide in PDF, you have to like this video. You also need to be a subscriber to the channel. Now, I can't tell, I said it before, I can't tell you if you are a thumbing up the video. I have no idea. None whatsoever. But I can tell if you're a subscriber. So you must be a subscriber to the channel. And to get into the running, all you need to do is comment in the comment section what World War II battle you think would make for a good fit for a Mythos adventure. Easy peasy. And then I will actually reveal the winner when I do my review of the Player's Guide, because this will be the first one that I do a review of. So keep that in mind. So probably a couple of weeks or so. So Coco B says, there's a website? Funny thing is, the website's far more popular than this channel is. It is. All right, that is it for this time out. Got to point out, next week on Monday's show, I am going to jump on in. We are going to take a peek at Destinies from Lucky Duck Games. This looks pretty interesting. Pretty interesting fantasy game. It says it is the first competitive story-driven RPG-like board game ever. So we will be taking a look at that on Monday's show. Tuesday, we are going to dive on into Territory, Tribes at War. This looks pretty interesting. I peeked inside the box. I haven't cracked open the decks of cards or anything, but we are going to take a look at that. And then, thanks to Stephen Loudermilk, next Wednesday, a week from today, we are going to take a look at the Castles and Crusades A-Series Adventures 0 through 5 from this box set. And Stephen Loudermilk was kind enough to send along this extra copy he had received. So we are going to dive on in and take a peek at that. All right, that is it for this time out. If you were watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live, took part in chat, a much bigger thank you, because not only are you keeping me company, you keep each other company while I'm babbling on and mispronouncing words all over the place. Helps you guys pass the time, I know that. But not everybody has an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. I really do appreciate each and every one of you taking time out to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. Of course, please give a thumbs up to the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. I'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming review of Pathfinder 2nd Edition Treasure Vault from Paizo Inc. So stay tuned for that. I got a bunch of videos coming. I'm going to really get to work because last weekend I was going to shoot a bunch of videos, and then I spent the weekend working on a garage door opener. So there was that. Anywho, everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. I hope you enjoy the rest of the week. Have a fantastic weekend. Of course, I will be back on Monday. And here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
Oh, hey, you're still here. That's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.